actually, I want to come back to the GSK Boston Pharma deal. So did you guys use a broker like Centerview? I can't remember what the details were. And how did you get to the point where you had an offer on the table? Did you have multiple offers that you were considering? Tell me a little bit more about the process.
So we had long discussions with many companies. And then at some point, it was clear that things had to accelerate because, as you remember, we were working towards an IPO in parallel. The market was very challenging, but that being said, we needed funding for our phase three. So it's
Mhm.
not like we could do nothing. We had to have parallel paths, which is often what CEO do, which creates another layer of complexity. Here you are, your development plan, your partnering conversation, and then the investor conversation, and then preparing for the IPO. And everybody in the company is putting their hair out. So we had to do all of that. And then suddenly, because some of the regulatory milestones were happening, things were accelerating on various fronts. We ended up, having the joy to realize that some pharma were serious. By the time term sheets came in, then it was helpful to have a broker without talking who it was and what. But it was helpful because then, I mean, there is only so much activity you can have in a company. There is expertise you don't necessarily have. And brokers can be wonderful discussion partners and intermediaries with pharma.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting because you always wonder what's the right path forward if you're building your company and engaging with these kinds of even inbound discussions. Does that send the wrong message because you're focused on building your company? At what at what point did you sort of make the decision that this was the right path for you versus the IPO?
When the discussion with pharma was extremely productive.
Yeah. So when you
Uh,
felt like you had line of sight to a deal, that's when
yeah,
you.
but it's always a risk. So
Mhm.
you don't stop anything. You just prioritize a little bit, and then you have to have very clear milestones. If this is not happening by then, we're going to do something else, the plan B. You should never. I mean, you're not into hope, right? You're into data. What signal am I getting? What data am I getting that allows me to make a decision? You have to be analytical from the start of your process to the end of your process. You cannot just, I mean, hope and prayers are not going to make it. You got to be analytical.